please let me know if my... Alright, thank you. Please let me know if my mic is failing or something. Can you all see my screen? Right here. Oh, moving my... Yeah, okay, thank you. So today we're going to talk about bursting, which is a major step in increasing your damage and bossing later bosses on the game. So what is a burst? A burst is using your main damage dealing skills that have cooldowns in order to in a sequence in order to deal a high amount of damage in a low amount of time. So most classes have this kind of skill in their 50 job. So this one here is an example, Spirit of Snow. Since I am Ice Lightning Mage, I'm going to show my skills. So this one has a 2 minutes cooldown. So the main, I would say, characteristic of a burst is using your high cooldown skills in a planned way so you can get the most out of them. So you don't just use them randomly as they come off cooldown. You have to plan how to use them at the right time and with the correct buffs and other uh, damage increasing statuses or debuffs, or depending on if you are in a party. There's a lot of aspects to bursting, and knowing what your burst is one of them. So each class bursts differently, so it's not everyone's going to burst like my class. I'm going to talk about my class, but it's better for you to check your class Discord or talk to other people that play your class, because you need to know what your rotation is. So what is a rotation? It's basically how you set up your burst. So this one is a rotation that I picked up from the Ice Lightning Discord. So it follows this arrow here. So it starts with the buffing. We buffed previously before starting to use our damage skills. And then my bursting sequence is casting a Spirit of Snow and then using certain low duration buffs. And then I cast my Origin, Ice Age, Jupiter Thunder, and then Bolt Barrage. Then I finish with Lightning Orb. This is a standard rotation that includes my Origin, but there are several variations depending on how I am bursting, which kind of boss I'm fighting, or if I'm doing a battle analysis. Depends a lot on how you want to simulate the boss fight. So this burst order here is something you have to know about your class, because there are optimal ways to burst depending on the sequence you use. Also, there are some classes that have skills that have different cooldowns. So for Ice Lightning, I have two skills that have 2 minutes cooldown, and two skills that have 1 minute cooldown. And then my last skill, Bolt Barrage, has 30 seconds cooldown. So I have to plan my burst around the 2 minutes cooldown, because they are my most powerful skills. And then I have to rotate my bursts in order to always have everything up when I'm going to do my full burst. So it's a matter of class really, but the principle is you have to make the most out of everything every time you want to use your most powerful skills. So our rotation is basically you have to set up and then you have to execute your burst. The setting up part we're going to cover later, but the execution part is class dependent, so I can't really talk for every class out there. But for my class, basically you have to set up your summons first and then unleash your damaging skills. Some classes have buffs that you can use for increase your damage, like Bowmaster, which has 3 long duration buffs. So you set up your long duration buffs and then you set up your short duration buffs, and make sure you are using your correct Oz ring that who we talked about last class. So if you are using your ring of restraint or your weapon jump or your continuous ring, make sure you are bursting inside the buff either duration or our area that is giving you the damage increase. So executing a good burst is going to change the fight completely. If you don't execute your burst well, some phases of some bosses can be rough, to say the last. Uh, so basically, depending on how you burst, some phases can be completely skipped, and then making some boss fights easier. So let's talk about the buffs first. Last, sorry. So these buffs here, depending on each class, has a set of buffs that you can use previously. But the idea of using your buffs is you use them to unleash your burst, because it's going to be the main damage increase you can get. So these buffs right here, Epic Adventure, everyone has it, and the Goddess Blessing and the AB Link are examples of buffs that don't have 100% uptime. So you have to choose whenever you are going to use them. The best way to get the most out of them is using during your burst, or as part of your burst. So you have to set up them previously. So a huge part of doing a good burst is you have to buff up previously before you are going to execute your rotation, because these buffs, they last long. These buffs 2 and 3 here, they last 1 minute, and then AB Link scales with buff duration. It can last up to 30 seconds depending on your class. And then you set up your buffs in the order of duration, because you want to have everything up when you execute your burst. So for my class, I use Epic Adventure, the Goddess Blessing, then I use AB Link. I finish with my Ring of Restraint, and then I start executing my burst. I open up with my Origin, and then I do my burst real quick. So buffing up is a major part of doing a good burst. You can't wait to start using your buffs when the window for dealing damage is there. You have to buff previously, because you have to use every chance you get to deal damage for the duration. Some bosses, they have windows that you can deal damage for, and then it's way better to buff up previously and then execute your burst during this window. So you can also generate windows with binds that we're going to talk about later. So well executed burst is going to be using your buffs previously, and then binding, and then using your burst instantly. We're going to talk about binding later, but it's just a commentary. So how do we measure your burst? Let's talk about the battle analysis mode for MapleStory. So we have this option here. It's like a feature which records the damage you are dealing with your skills during a certain time, and then you can analyze this damage distribution. You can analyze the time you took, the duration, and many things. So we use the BA, the battle analysis, to have a estimate of how much damage you can deal in a certain amount of time. There are two types of BAs. The first type is doing your full rotation. Your full rotation is basically you have to time your duration for your highest cooldown. So since I am a lightning mage, I have my highest cooldown is 2 minutes. So I start battle analysis. I buff previously. I start the battle analysis, and then I burst with my 2 minutes skills, and then wait to come back up. I stop, and then I get this kind of graph right here. It's showing my total damage, the amount of time I'm going to use as comparison. So this one is not a full burst, full rotation burst, but it's a window time burst I'm going to talk about. So you have to check your total damage if this one is interesting you, and your average damage. They are different metrics that can help you locate where you are in the damage scenarios for the bosses. So when you do time window burst or a BA, for example, for Luwiu you have to do a 40 seconds BA, and for Kalos you have to do a 35 BA. These are um, the windows that you can damage the boss freely, so you have to do the most damage you can inside these windows. So this BA here, I did this for a duration, certain duration. So what I am interested in is my total damage. So here I dealt 36 trillion damage, and this is the estimate I am going to use for um, checking if I am able to run this boss. So when you do a full rotation, you are interested in the average damage, because you are timing for your highest cooldown. So the average damage here is going to show way more damage than you are dealing per second if you are using a lesser duration than your highest cooldown, because your damage is not being spread out during for the full burst. If you time correctly, you can know your average damage per second, which we normally refer as BPS, or billions per second. So you can know how much damage you are dealing through the fight instead of on a single burst. Uh, each boss requires a different setup. So here in our stat tracker, we have this table right here that shows how to run your BA for each boss. So for Luwiu and Kalos, we have a timed burst, and for the rest of the bosses, we usually do a full rotation so we can know your BPS. So you can simulate these conditions of each boss in the dojo slash forest of training. You have to run dojo until I think it is floor 30. I'm not sure if I remember correctly. And then you will unlock the forest of training feature. There you can choose summon a puppet that you can choose the level, the defense, the HP, and the power type of the fight you are going to face. So basically, you are simulating the conditions for fighting a boss, and then you can check how much damage you are going to do in a certain amount of time. This is a very good estimation of damage you are dealing, but in a real fight, it's going to vary because sometimes the bosses don't behave how we want them to behave, bearing the bind conditions. So this is it's a good way to start. Everyone should have this forest unlocked, so you can run your BAs here and then post on our stat tracker channel, and then we can help you find parties, because now we have data to um, uh, match you with a party, because we need minimum damage for clearing the bosses. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We can help you set up your BA and then do your burst rotation. We have a lot of people that play different classes, so I don't play warriors for example. So I don't know exactly how they rotate, but I play a lot of mages. But I know people that play warriors and then can help. So it's a matter of asking the right person, and then we can help you set up your burst correctly. I myself learned to burst correctly recently. I was doing my burst wrong, and then Anori helped me to fix my burst. And then it's always good to have someone take a look at your bursting cycle and your rotations to see if you can improve, and then you improve your damage. So here is how you should come with a BA for analysis. You have to show your buffs right here. Which buffs are you using? For a normal BA, we usually only do familiars and the green potion, and then your own class buffs. And then you have to show this window right here, containing arranged by cumulative damage, so we can know your this one is not arranged, but you can show like the most your strongest skill right here, then your second strongest, and so goes on. And then you can show different play styles depending on how your exa matrix is progressed, or how your gear is distributed, and stuff like that. We can get a good uh, notion of how your BA is, of what your BA is telling us about your bursting habits. Also, you have to show in the print, in the screenshot, the arcane power here using if you are fighting a boss that has uh, power type requirements, and then the enemy settings. I think next patch we're going to have how it's called, the practice mode buffs. Then you can choose stuff like guild skills and have your cooldowns reset. It's going to be way better. I think it's coming in on milestone, I'm not sure, but it's on KMS already. Anyway, so this is basically how we do a BA for your burst. And then we have the binding. When you do your BA in a controlled scenario, everything is always going to run smoothly. But in a boss fight, it's going to be different. So we have this resource which is called binding. Binding is using a special type of skill that is going to stun the boss for you. The boss is not going to be able to move or attack for a certain duration. There are three types of binds. The origin bind, which is this purple icon here, just below the boss HP bar. The regular bind, which is this pinkish chain breaking here, just below the boss HP bar, and the critical bind, which is a special kind of bind that only zeros have. So basically, when you can stack binds on top of each other, but they're not going to accumulate. So the general strategy is when you cast a bind, this icon right here is going to appear. It starts at 100 and counts down to 0. Most binds they last 10 seconds, so this is going to count from 100 to 99, 98, and when it gets to 90 here in this count, the boss is going to be able to move again. And then when this happens, you cast your regular bind. So here on the boss, I cast my origin. The boss is bound for 10 seconds, and then when it reaches 90 seconds, I cast my normal bind, and then she's bound again for another 10 seconds. There are some kinds of long binds that last more than 10 seconds, so they don't start at 100, they start at more. So Ice Lightning has a 13 seconds bind. This icon right here is going to start at 103 instead of at 100, and then count down the same way. So since this icon here represents that you can't bind this boss again during this duration. So after a certain time, when the debuffs run out, we are going to be able to bind them again. So for a general strategy is that you have to set up your burst. You buff previously with your long buffs. So if you are in a party, you're probably going to get a call for like pop 60s, which is using your long duration buffs, and then everyone prepares together, and then someone binds, and then everyone bursts together. This is called party bursting, which basically is synchronizing everyone's burst inside of a damage increasing skill. So here we have two types of bursts, the 2 minutes and the 3 minutes ones, and the mini bursts. So the 2 minute classes and the 3 minute classes, they behave differently in a party because their burst is out of sync. So if the 2 minutes they burst every 2 minutes, then the 3 minute classes are not going to sync with them. So only one of them is going to be able to bind the boss. So the general strategy is for the 2 minutes to wait for the 3 minutes, but then this way they lose part of their bursts because they are not bursting as often. So for the party composition, generally we want to combine the 2 minutes with the 2 and the 3s with the 3s. It's not a rule, but it increases the party synergy for bursting together. The mini bursts are skills that have lower cooldown, like my Bolt Barrage, which has 40 seconds cooldown, and then I cast whenever it's up, which is called mini bursting. A full burst is using all of your cooldowns. So generally, when you start doing bosses in a party, later bosses, we're going to have supports, which are classes that have these final damage increasing skills that you can stack on top of each other. And then when the party bursts together inside this effect, the total damage is going to increase way higher than if you are bursting H1 on your own timer. So examples of these skills are Benediction from Bishops, Awakening from Ling, Spirit Domain from Kana, and then the Auras for Battle Mage. So when you are bursting with your party, you have to pre-buff, everyone pre-buffs together. You have to keep communication for when your burst is getting off cooldown. So the 3 minutes, they always have to keep a tab on the burst cooldown, because the 2 minutes can know how long it will take for the 3 minutes to be able to burst again. So if you are a 3 minutes class, you have to keep the party updated on your cooldowns, because we are going to use your cooldowns as a reference for when to burst. And then the party decides to burst, everyone buffs up first, and then when the bind drops, everyone bursts together. You can't waste time buffing after the bind. You're going to lose uptime. So it's very important to communicate with your party so everyone can buff up before the burst starts, which starts with the bind. So communication is one of the most important parts of party bursting, because either you are losing your damage because not everyone's bursting together, or you are straight up griefing some bosses that you need to burst together, like some parts of Extreme Black Mage or some parts of Seren. It's very important to burst together because we can do the most damage we can in a certain window of time. Not all bosses require you to, and not all parties require you to burst together, but it's always best to burst together if you can, because you can bypass some of the mechanics of certain bosses. So for bursting, this is basically it. Do you have any questions? Any commentaries? How are we doing? Hello. Can anyone hear me? Oh, oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really important to have access to your class Discord, so be sure to reach out if you can't. We have exclamation resources that we can, in exclamation resources, we have in the class section, we have a list of all the Discords for the main classes that you can require to join. I myself, I am in like 10 Discords because I play a lot of classes. It's always good to check out, because you can learn a lot about the bursting of your own class, or if you play with someone else's class, you can learn how to they behave in a burst and cooldowns. It's always good to learn. Thank you, Em. Yes. Do we have any comments or questions? Now, then I think we can go to Hilla, which is the main attraction of the night. Alright, let me stop my presentation here real quick. So I think we can start Hilla soon. Let me ping everyone to say that. When pre-buffing, it's often a good idea to pop a few buffs, deal with the boss mechanics, and pop a few more. Yeah, that's a great advice. We talked on Tuesday about Gloom, where you sometimes get locked in the buff animation, and then the tentacles are going to strike you and kill you. So you don't have to pop all your buffs right away. You can pop two buffs and then wait and dodge that mechanic or do something that the boss requires, and then you can go back to buffing later. The only important part is that all your buffs are up when you start bursting. The actual rotation for getting them up doesn't matter. I mean, depends on class, but sometimes it matters. But in general, the long duration buffs, you just have to have them up. So let's talk about Hilla now. Any other questions or comments about bursting? Oh, well, okay. Let's talk about Hilla. So Hilla is in my opinion, is one of the most iconic bosses in MapleStory, because it's going to be the first party check for the game. Before this, you could get away with just bursting the boss or brute forcing. Will sometimes requires more coordination, but for Hilla, it's the really the first time you have to work as a team if you're running as a team, so you can clear this boss. She's known for being a hard boss to navigate through, but it's actually very simple when you get the hang of the fight. It's when you learn how to ebb and flow with her. It's a really fun fight. It's one of my favorites. During the boss reset, the first thing I always do is fighting Hilla because I enjoy the fight so much. Uh, so let's talk about Hilla. So just remember that you can go to roles and assign the pings that you can get for practices and for other kinds of bosses. And also remember to request your buffs whenever you're running hard boss or having trouble with some bosses on the bossing channel with buff request. And then let's talk about our witch. So she is green, she is mean, she is going to cackle. I am not talking about Gruntilda from the Banjo-Kazooie series. I'm talking about our Green Witch, Resident Green Witch, Hilla. So Hilla, what you need to start this fight. If your party is kitten ready, so if you can clear Dark now and Gloom, you are able to fight Hilla. So the Arcane Force requirements are 900 of the minimum damage and 1350 for maximum damage output, which is basically you have all your symbols max out. So Hilla is a different fight from the other fights because it has a special system which is the soul system or the life system depending on how you see it. So basically this is the arena we are going to fight Hilla. There are a few things we have to talk about. We're going to talk about our hourglasses here on the left, on the right, and then we are going to talk about the special life system. Also, one extra thing is that you are potion locked most of the time in this fight. You can use potions or heal with any kind of sources, except for one we're going to talk later. You can unlift this block in certain conditions, which is a major part of this fight. So we start with the lives. So we have 5 lives that are represented by these green skulls. that you have. You can move around your UI, and then you have the life count for your party members here. The main thing about Vihila is that we have on the background we have these candles. They are unlit, and under certain conditions we can lit them up, light them up. So basically the map is going to be casting these hands, and then these hands are going to show these green lines here. They are called strings. After a certain time, the strings are going to turn red, and if you are caught by these strings, you are going to get stun locked, and then one of your schools are going to turn red. So get a job, stay away from her, don't get strung up by the green lines. They are going to appear constantly during the fight and then have a certain pattern. They are not random. So there are some spots that you can stay safely, we're going to talk about later. But basically you can, after a while you are fighting Vihila, you can start noticing the bad patterns which these strings are going to appear. So she's going to capture one of your schools. It's going to turn red. This means that at this moment she's going to hold your life, but you can get it back later. So there are two types of deaths in this fight: the HP death that costs you one of these schools permanently, and the string death, which turns your school into red. This school right here can be recovered by a certain gimmick, or you can lose this school too permanently in this fight during a certain test. So we're going to talk about later. So whenever she captures a soul, one candle on the background is going to be lighted up. Lighted up. Anyway, it's going to be it's going to catch on fire. This means that she has a soul, and when all these candles are light up, a certain yeah, she's got you on camera. She's got you, girl. You have to run away now. Just kidding. You have to fight for your soul right now. So when all these candles right here, the number of candles depends on the total amount of lives of the party. So if you are soloing, you have 3 candles, and the more party members, the more candles are going to be on the background. And then when you light up all these candles, this altar here is going to appear in a random part of the map. You have to interact with this altar right here multiple times with your interact key. Mine is alt, for example. You stay here and mesh or alt, and then when you are finishing meshing this altar to the ground, 2 things are going to happen. First, you are going to get back your red schools. They are going to turn green again. So if you get strung by the hands, you can get your lives back by summoning the altar and then mashing the altar, so you can get back your soul. And another thing is going to happen is that you are able now to use potions again for 5 seconds. So this fight is like a dance. You are going to be taking damage constantly, and normally you can't heal. So you have to constantly give up part of your soul for her, and then get back by using the altar to heal. It's a party effort because you can't activate the altar by yourself. You have to catch strings with your party. Everyone has to catch strings by a certain amount to light up the altar. So this requires coordination and then requires teamwork, which is why this fight is hard. One of the many reasons. So what happens if you don't catch the altar? What's going on? So after a certain time, now we have a certain time counter on the just below the clock that shows when it's going to happen. But Before that, we had to look for the hourglasses in the background, which are going to pass the time through this red sand. When this count reaches 0, we are going to face one of the most feared cutscenes in MapleStory. Flashbang alert, you are going to see this animation. So this is a test. Just right before the test goes up, everyone in the map is going to turn invincible, including the boss, and then this cutscene is going to play. This is Hilla sighting you down. If you have any red skulls during this test, you are going to lose them permanently. So if you have 5 green skulls, you don't lose anything. But you have 4 green skulls and 1 red skull. After this test, you are going to have only 4 green skulls, and you can't go back to 5 anymore until the fight is over. So basically, you have to dance with her. You have to dance with the devil. You have to keep catching strings so you can heal. But if you don't do it in her time frame, you are going to lose the lives permanently. So this is why this is the reason this fight is so fun, because when you get the hang of the catch a string and then heal, catch a string and heal, this fight becomes like a dance with choreographed movement. So this is the main mechanic of the Hilla fight. So just for recap, you can heal inside. The hands are going to catch your string. When they string you lose a life. It's going to turn your skull red. And light a candle. When the candles are all light up, the altar is summoned, and then you can interact with the altar to get your skulls back and then heal, because it's going to unlock your potions. But if you don't, if you have red skulls by the time this test come, you lose your red skulls permanently. So this is the main gimmick of the fight, but Hilla herself is going to have a lot of attacks that are designed to disrupt you and throw you into either force you to move or force you to take strings for her. Her attacks are not that damage dealing. It's not like other bosses that have like a lot of attacks that one shot you. Her attacks are at most 50% damage, if I remember correctly, but they force you to either stay in place or you have to move so you don't get hit. So a lot of the Hilla fighting is spacing yourself compared to her, so you don't get caught by the strings. And if you do, you have to play the dance, play her game of catching souls. So this is the first attack, one of the most annoying ones, in my opinion. She's going to raise her hand here. I didn't find a GIF for this attack. I'm going to show a video later. So she's going to raise her hand and then cast these blue souls right here. If you are in the range, just before the souls appear, she's going to stun you, and after for 2 seconds. And then after a while, she's going to attack with her sight and hit you across the map. She's going to throw you across the map. And if there are any strings in the patch you are being thrown, you're going to get strung and lose a life to a red skull. So this is the most common attack she uses. It's hard to dodge this attack because it starts really quickly. The stun part appears really quickly, goes up really quickly. So the best way to avoid this attack is either being really far away from her, which is a problem because if you can see her, you can see she's casting other attacks, or you stay near her so you can go just behind her when she starts casting this attack. Staying in the middle ground compared to her is the worst position you can be. Either stay near to her or very far away. Don't stay mid-range from Hilla. It's a worst position you can be in this boss. So for her normal attacks, there are some variations that they grow up in power depending on each phase of the boss. So she has 4 phases, which are HP phases. They are not boss phases that changes the fight completely. So she's going to start a phase 1, and then every 25% HP, she's going to change the phases. Each of her attacks are going to be powered up and do more damage and have new effects. So the 75% enters phase 2, 50% phase 3, and 25% phase 4, which changes the color of her HP bar. So this attack right here on phase 1 is not going to do much. She's going to cast spin her sight. But after phase 2 starts, she's going to cast these schools right here. They move really slowly to both sides until the end of the map, or longer range. And then they deal continuous damage. If you stand on top of them, you can get damage multiple times. You can duck underneath them to dodge, but if you duck, you increase your hitbox, and you are prone to get a hit by strings. So this is a way. This is one of her tricks to force you to get strung by the hands. So this attack here on phase 1 doesn't do much. She's going to smack her sight on the ground, but after phase 2 starts, this attack gets 2 variations, which are the green attack and the purple attack. She's going to raise her sight and change color. Each of these both of these attacks are going to cast a pseudo FMA attack, which casts like giant bone pillars to both sides, and each one has a different save spot. So when she casts green, you have to stand in front of her, and when she casts purple, you have to stand behind of her. So both of these attacks are designed to force you to move around. This attack right here deals a lot of damage, so it's better to avoid the attack itself and get strung, so because you can catch your lives back later, than dying HP death. So in general, dying HP death in V Hilla is a very bad idea because you can get your HP death back, but if you can avoid by taking a string, always go for the string because you can recover the string. So here is how the attack looks like. She just cast a green one in front of her, and then she's going to spawn these giant bone columns here that deal 15% damage each of your HP. So where's he? So here, when she casts the green animation, the safe spot is just in front of her. If you are on top of her right here, you are still going to get hit, so you have to be in front of her. You have a little time to react, and it's always better to call for your party if you are fighting her in the party. But you have to get used to it, because the strings are going to be raining down. You have to choose in the moment. Cygnus, have you read the lore? Why is she green though? So this green attack, you have to stand in front of her. If it's purple, then the safe spot is just behind her, so you have to go behind and wait for the attack to pass. This attack is very dangerous because if you stay away from her, you can't see her casting this attack at all, and then the bone pillars are going to catch you and probably kill you or force you to iframe. So it's better to always stay near her so you can see what she is doing. She can also summon 3 kinds of summons. This is the first one, which we call the Poison Cloud. She summons this zombie right here that she can summon up to 2 zombies in the arena. And then this zombie right here, when you kill him, you damage him, he's going to turn into a mush of poison here, and then cast a poison cloud on the ground that damages you constantly. Remember, you can't heal yourself normally in this fight, so these poison clouds here are very dangerous. You have to kill them, I guess it's 2 to 3 times before they disappear, so it's very annoying to have them clogging up the stage. And then they force you can use certain parts of the map during the fight because the poison cloud is there. So it's always a good idea to coordinate, to have the poison clouds on certain parts of the map that you are not going to use right now. So Raja is not gagging, but maybe she can. She will because of the smell. So she also can summon on P3 and P4 at 50% HP or 25% HP the ghosts of Lotus and Damien. It's old Lotus, if you remember how to fight ghosts. He's going to push you around and try to force you to get strung up. Also, the same goes for Damien. Their HP is really low, you can kill them very quickly, but they are annoying because sometimes they push you around and you get out of position, and then you catch a string by accident. So general tips for this fight are, there are safe spots around the map. So these yellow squares right here show 4 safe spots. These spots here are never going to be strung by the hands. The hands are going to cast always in a certain pattern. It's not 100% random, but these parts right here, there are some parts to the left side of the arena, but most times we fight on the right side of the arena. I'm going to show you why. But there are some safe spots that you can stand here and always avoid the strings. But she's going to force you to move around anyway, so you can use these safe spots to burst, which is a strategy called corner bursting. So this spot right here on the right is a safe spot. She's going to teleport constantly during the fight due to the players, and then one strategy most of the people use, which is not optimal, I'm going to explain why, is force her to teleport to the right and then bind her and burst her in the corner. It's a very common strategy for fighting Hilla, but it's not the best way to deal with this fight. It's just a safe way to deal with this fight. It's a common strategy from the Kana meta from a few years ago, where everyone grouped in the right side of the map to stay inside the Kana's barrier and then burst together to get the FD. But it's not the best way to do this burst because when she is unbound, she can start casting the green and the purple attacks. And if she casts the green and she's turned to the wall, you don't have a safe spot to stand on. So you either have to catch HP death, or you are going to burn an iframe, which is not optimal. So the best way in a trained party, or if you are soloing, is burst her in the middle, so you can avoid the purple and green attacks when they happen later. Depends on the party. Some parties are better to burst on the corner. Sometimes they get extra damage from bursting the corner, but it's generally not the case. It's just a safe option to burst Hilla. So more tips. Don't panic on your movement. Don't use flash jumps. No more flash jumps. Flash jumps and general very fast and movements that go too far are going to be detrimental to your Hilla run. It's hard to control some people have the habit to keep flash jumping around. You can do this in Hilla. You have to plan your movements precisely. So it's better to always be on the ground, and so you can jump between the waves of strings, and then you have to use your class dashes to move around. So warriors, they have the rush skills, mages have teleport, the archers, they have the teleport from the depends on the archer, but they can dash around or teleport around. Also, you have to normally walk normally your character, so you have to get used to how much speed you have and how far you can go with your dashes, so you can escape hard situations by casting a dash or a teleport or sidestepping to the right, to the right or to the left. It's a matter of practice. Starting to fight Hilla is hard because generally it's the first time you have to watch out where your character is. So a tip I have is to play Flag Race, because Flag Race is going to teach you how to control your jumps and your positioning and your micro sidestepping to the right or left. So it's a good way to practice and get better at controlling your character. So another set of tips. You can cancel your momentum in the air. You can do a knockback dropping. When she hits you across the map with blue skill, you can cancel the momentum in the middle of the air and drop to the ground. So warriors, they have the drop attack skill to do this. Mages can teleport middle air. Other classes can stop their momentum with some skills like Pathfinder with the triple arrow. Depends on your class, so it's better to learn these tricks that you can use to avoid either getting knockback by using super armor or some kind of blink, and the tricks to stop you from getting thrown to the edge of the map, because you are probably going to get hit by a string on the way. So healing familiars. The healing femmes, which are basically these lines here, continually restores a large amount of HP to party members. These healing familiars, these lines, are going to bypass the healing lock. So you can keep healing your party even if you are potion locked. So if everyone in the party summons these, you have 3 slots for familiars. If everyone summons 3 of this, your party is basically never going to die HP death. So it's important to have the healing femmes because they make a huge difference for this fight. So in KMS they don't have their healing femmes, so they have to play by their rules and keep doing the dance with Vihila. In GMS we can bypass this mechanic and play the fight in a easy way. So get your healing femmes right now because you are going to need it. Also for Wheel P2, you also can use the same strategy with the healing femmes. So string catching. So when you are, sometimes you want to catch strings on purpose. So here it's showing the amount of lives that each party member has. When someone catches a string, the number of lives is going down, so you can know which members you need to help the most. So since you need a minimum amount of candles to light up the altar, the party members, they need to start dropping in a certain pattern. You can't have one person dropping all the skulls and everyone else is full of skulls, because if this person dies or gets strung again, it's going to be died out. They get removed from the fight. It fails. So everyone has to drop strings together, or either together or people with the most lives, they have to start dropping earlier, because this way you can everyone can synchronize the loss of schools and no one gets in a real danger of losing, being wiped out of the fight. So this is called string catching. Sometimes when you are in a party, someone is responsible for doing the callouts, and they go like, person 1, you have to catch 2 strings. This means that you have to get hit on purpose by 2 sets of different strings, so you can lose 2 lives. And when you lose 2 lives, you donate your soul to the candles, and then at the end of the candles you can start cleansing. So you have to get your difference aside and work as a party, because if you don't help your teammates, you are going to lose this fight too. This is a hard fight. So get good at checking your party members' lives. You can move around your party setup on your screen setup, your school setup on your UI during the fight. So get them in a way you can easily see how many lives each person has left, because if you after each FMA, the number of candles that need to be lit is going to be updated regarding the number of lives left. If everyone has all the lives, the number of candles continues normally. But if some people lost some of their lives, the number of candles is going to drop. Certain combinations are very hard to play because it requires some people to never losing lives and other people to having to lose all their lives to summon the candle, the altar from the candles. So generally, you have to always pay attention because it, you are going to get strong eventually. Um, it's very easy to get strong in this fight. Some people have more practice, some people have less, but always be prepared to be ready to catch strings to save your teammates because you are going to need them later, or you can summon the altar for yourself. So you beat Vihila, congratulations. So for the base drops, we have the Power Crystal, which is worth way more this time, the Sparks of Determination, and this new item, the Shadow of Annihilation. This is a core item for the game. This item here allows you to craft a key to enter the next boss, which is the Black Mage. If you don't beat Vihila, you can't fight the Black Mage. So get your parties up, find a party. Oh, sorry. She doesn't. Oh, for real? I didn't know. I thought she dropped sparks. Yeah, I have to check. Doesn't? Oh, that's my mistake then. Should let me correct. Thank you for correcting me. Oh, here. Let's. She doesn't drop sparks. I am wrong. Thank you. So, you can either get the sparks from Gloom or Dark now, or from dailies from the Tenebris area. So when you have 50 of these plus one of these, you can craft a key to enter Black Mage. And every time you enter Black Mage, you are going to consume one of these keys. Also, she drops the best soul in the game right here. If you don't think this is the best soul in the game, you have the right to have your wrong opinion. Sorry, not sorry. So this soul right here, it's a mag soul. Oh, Colin is good, but Vihila is better. This is that meme of the woman screaming. This is my opinion. Yeah, this always very pretty. Yeah, Vihila is the best. Sorry, not sorry. So get your frags because sometimes we have the event to get more, a higher chance to get mag souls and get your pretty soul. For equipment drops the same as before, arcane boxes and the Oz ring box, and then the daybreak pendant and the stellar earrings. I'm not sure now if she drops stellar earrings. Can someone confirm for me? Yeah, so only the pendant. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I was not sure if she dropped the stellar earrings, but thank you for confirming. Also, the Peach boss set is going to be the Source of Suffering, which is a necklace. It's the best in slot and goes into the Peach item boss set. So everyone's looking for this item right here. And remember, we learned Tuesday from Hui how to behave in a party. So blink for the items because this item here is very important. So if anyone has any questions, any comments, we can go to practice. Uh, we have only Vihila today because this boss requires a lot of practice. So we can start right now. Any questions, any comments? Oh, I forgot to mention. Thank you. So when the altar is on the ground, if she touches the altar it's going to destroy the altar and it's going to respawn on another part of the map, which is kind of annoying because sometimes you are looking for a cleanse and then she teleports on top of you and breaks the altar, and then you have to go around with red skulls for looking for another part of the altar. Yes, this is a problem because when you try cleansing just before the FMA is about to happen, sometimes you don't have the time. I have lost some lives because of this. Very good tip, thank you. So let's practice. Come channel 5, please. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. This is a fun boss. I promise.